On AM 1130, 99.9 FM, Prescott, Chino Valley, and Paulden, 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, the talk of the Quad Cities, KQ&A. It's Hammertime. Waking up with the YCCA. Hammertime is brought to you by Lawhorn Plumbing, Verde Valley Alarm Services, Earthworks Landscape and Supply, Prescott Home Safety, Greenlee Designer Surfaces, Get Right Mitigation, Franklin Plumbing, The Blind Brothers, Caltex, Vicente Landscaping, Barrett Propane, and Badger Roofing. And now from the studios of KQ&A, it's Hammertime, waking up with the YCCA. Here's the Executive Director of the Yavapai County Contractors Association, Sandy Griffiths.
Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to Hammertime, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. We're so happy to be with you this morning. We've got another great show. We're going to talk about paint. Oh my gosh, and brushes. I'm going to talk about my favorite little weenie brush again. This is going to be so amazing. We're going to have a great hour. We have a super cool guest. His name is Dante Olivas, and he owns Olivas Pro Painting. And we're going to talk about everything and more than you ever wanted to know about paint and brushes and oil-based paint and water-based paint. Is there such a thing as water-based paint, Dante?
Yeah, mostly all the paint that you buy now is water-based.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
They kind of got out of the oil and lead paint, you know?
Nifty. So we're going to talk about all of that. We have a whole hour to discuss paint, paint. My wingman isn't here. Who knows where he is, you know? Dante, he's not starting the new year off, right? No. This is like a big red check for him.
For sure, right?
We're not even out of the first month of the year, and he's already a no-show.
Yeah, you got to give him a notice, you know?
I will give him a notice. He will get a big fat notice. You know, if it were Christmas, he would get a big lump of coal in his sock. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I will introduce you, Mr. Dante Olivas, owner of Olivas Pro Painting, to the universe.
Nice.
So we'll be right back, listeners. Don't move.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to Hammer Time, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. That's YCCA for short. Before we start talking with Dante about painting and brushes, our show last weekend, in case you missed it, we had the Lions Club with us. We had Mr. Derek Davis. He is the president. We had Jim, and we had, oh my gosh, Gregory, I forgot his name, the treasurer. And then we had Metal Clad Electric with us, Miss Mickey and Michael, and they own Metal Clad Electrical. We had a great show, and those lions sure do roar, because we roared during the show multiple times, Dante. Roar! So you can go to those lions. They meet every Thursday at Waffles and More, soon to be, I think, Waffles and Plus, I guess. Did I get that right? 7 a.m. So go join the Lions. Dante, welcome to Hammer Time, my friend.
Thank you, Sandy, for having me.
So we're going to talk about painting.
Yeah.
What? How long have you owned Olivas Pro Painting?
In May, it will be my third year.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So how many employees do you have?
3 employees.
Okay.
Yep.
Men and women, or all men?
No, mostly men right now, but
Okay.
we're not opposed to hire women.
I know.
I work with a lot of girl painters before.
Girl painters, being a girl, we do stuff pretty good.
Yeah, and some homeowners, they prefer to have female,
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what made you start a painting company up 3 years ago?
Well, I'm really young still, so I had
Are you a millennial?
Yes.
Okay.
I had my daughter when I was 17 or 18.
Oh my gosh.
So I had to come up with a way to make some money,
Right.
And my dad's been a painter for over 20 years, so it's like I already had some skills built up from that, and my uncle used to work for opinion painting.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
and he actually, I went to online school, so I had a lot of time in high school, like throughout the day,
To figure out what paint was and how to paint and all of that.
Not necessarily the type of paint, but I needed a job, Like I just had so much extra time, even before we had the kids, so my uncle got me a job there, and Jimmy at Pinion Painting, he actually gave me a shot when I was like 16 years old,
Jimmy at Pinion Painting is a good man.
He's a good guy,
So, listeners, sorry not to cut you off, Dante, but the wingman is here, late.
Hi, Dante.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So what's your excuse? We're not even out of the first month of the year, and you were almost a no-show.
Yeah, and I just wanted to prep you so that you wouldn't be disappointed if I did that during the year. So I'm just getting you used to it.
Oh, so it's going to happen more often than not?
Well, so if it doesn't happen more often than not, then you'll be impressed.
Dante, I'm not buying this, are you?
I think I'm digging myself a deeper hole
I
here.
think you are digging yourself in a deeper hole. So what are you going to do to make up for lateness, tardiness?
I'll take us to the first break. How about that?
Are they going to say lunch or dinner or something?
Yeah,
when you said a break?
I know. Just a break? That's all we get is a break? Sheepers, catfish. So we're happy that you could show up and
as
join
am
us.
I apologize for being late, but I'm happy to be here.
So other than that, welcome to Hammertime, sir.
Well, thank you.
We were just getting into Dante and Olivas Pro Painting, and I think you missed the part. He was a very young father.
Yeah.
He had his daughter when he was 17.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And
cool.
so he had to figure out what to do and how to support and be a father, and he
How to be a man,
How to be a man and started painting and
Exactly.
being responsible.
So
Yep.
the neat thing about it is when he has grandchildren, he's still going to be able to do backflips with them.
No, and
roll around
that's how
on the
my dad
ground.
is. My dad is only he's in his 40s, so he's still young too.
Yep.
What? I never
Neat.
thought about that. Neat.
Yep.
Okay, so are you doing backflips with your grandchildren? Are you the older generation?
It's kind of like going through surgery, and when you wake up, they say, you ask the doctor, can I still play the piano, or can I play the piano now? And he said, well, sure. And you say, well, I never knew how to play it before. Well, it's kind of the same way with backflips. I never knew how to do it before, so it
Why
didn't really,
start now?
really
Does it
make any
make a
difference. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, I did enjoy being physically able to enjoy my grandkids.
Okay, perfect. So, Dante, you've had a good start. You learned from some really local masters. I mean, Jimmy from Pinion Painting, your father.
Yeah.
Is he still painting?
My dad? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's still painting. He actually helps us,
He does?
Yeah.
Do you get to boss him around?
Oh, of course.
But I have a feeling with each order comes the last word, which is, please, Papa.
Yeah. No, it is like that, and he always tells me stuff too, like he's got the yearly experience,
Right.
He's got stuff that with older paints have discontinued, all types of, he knows all the special tricks,
Okay, so name a special trick. What would a special trick be for painting?
So if you want to get a straight line on anything, you could put a piece of tape on there, make it straight, and then you put caulking. So when you put the caulking, it makes it to where it's not bleeding. The paint doesn't bleed through the little seams on the paint. So it's called tape caulking.
Okay, so you put if I want to paint a straight line in the middle of a wall, I would put 2 strips of paint tape because I'm going to paint down the middle of
so
those 2
you have like a line in the middle.
Where would I put the caulk?
You put the caulking right on the end of the seam where the tape is.
Where I'm going to paint.
And so if you're painting a line in the middle, you put it on the inside, the 2 pieces of the inside of the tape, and then you put caulking right there. And then once you take the tape off, then it's straight line. There's no bleeding, because sometimes when you just put the tape, the paint will go underneath the seam of the tape and it'll cause a bleeding,
So you put the caulk on top of the paint tape?
Yes.
Because you can't put it next to the paint tape, because then you wouldn't get your straight line, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is like kind of the thermos bottle thing.
But sometimes you still need to do that, especially with texture, because even the new tapes, like the frog tapes, which really, really have helped, but even with frog tape, sometimes you can still get
you buy a $20 roll of tape and it still bleeds through,
Yep.
so you always use the caulking called tape caulking.
Yep.
And you put it right on top of the tape.
Well, where the seam is, not over the whole piece of tape, but
okay.
just where the little seam
got
is,
it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
How does the caulk know? Or how does the tape know? Or how does the paint know?
It kind of seals it,
Okay.
Fills up the little micro gaps in between the tape and the drywall.
Okay, so that's a pretty cool trick.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you do it all the time?
Oh, yeah, because you could be the best painter, whatever, and you could do straight lines, but no one ever is going to get a perfectly straight line. No way.
But you wouldn't put a big old glob. In other words, you wouldn't put a big.
Right.
You just put a little. They're called beads. You just put a little bead of caulking next to it.
So do you do it out of a caulk gun?
Yeah, or whatever. That's usually how the caulking tubes you can't really push. You have to have like the gun to kind of spew it out.
Wow, I might have to try that.
No, yeah, if you got like even an accent wall or something,
straight paint line on one of my walls. And if it doesn't work, Dante, I have your number.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Dante, I think we've created some competition over here.
Yeah, for sure.
You have.
I could just see it now. Somebody calls YCCA to get a paint referral, and she
I can
ends
do
up
it.
saying,
I can do it.
"Here's how you do it."
Yeah.
I'll be your girl. Okay, so that's what's another cool trick?
Let's see.
Feathering?
What does that mean?
That's just like with the brush, but I don't really necessarily think that's a trick.
Okay, what's a trick to keep when you put your brush in the can of paint to now go paint?
Okay, so it doesn't get it dirty.
What is the crazy trick to keep all the paint from running down the handle of the paintbrush onto your wrist and your arm and down onto the floor?
Okay, well, sometimes people think that like the more paint that you put on the brush, it actually helps it, but that's kind of the opposite sometimes, You don't really want to douse your brush, like the whole brush, maybe just the ends, the tips, But that's the way that the paint drips down. It just gets so sucked up. It's called the ferrule, the little metal part of the brush. And so when that thing gets full of paint, you tip upside down. Obviously, it's gonna.
It's all over.
Yeah,
it's over both.
So
hands.
the tip with that is like if you have a bucket full of paint, they actually have new buckets where they have magnets on there, so you can just stick the brush where the ferrule is to the magnet. Or sometimes I just put a screw.
And so that will then tell you how far down to dip your brush.
Kind of, and you're kind of like, instead of if you have a bucket of paint and you put the whole thing in there, obviously after a while it's going to get soaked in. But if you have something to hold it up, like, how do I explain that? If you have something to hold it up, then the paint won't get all the way into the ferrule.
Yeah, it's called loading, so it won't load up your brush.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, we have to load off for a break.
Oh, good segue.
I know, and I hope we don't get too much paint on our ferrule. Is that what it's called?
That's the metal part on the brush, yes.
Yep. So take us to break, Mr. Late Man.
You betcha. Be my pleasure. You're listening to Hammertime, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. Having a great conversation with Dante about painting. So please stay tuned for some great messages from our ever so valuable sponsors. And keep in mind, we're airing on Talk of the Quad Cities, KQNA 1130 AM and 99.9 FM. So fill up that cup of coffee or that OJ, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hammer Time, brought to you by YCCA. Our guest with us this morning is Mr. Dante Olivas, owner of Olivas Pro Painting. Okay, The painter was feeling blue until he found his true color.
That's good.
What
That's
do you
good.
think?
That's a good one.
You're off to a great start for the new year.
Yes, and you're not because you were late.
Dante, I'm going to be haunted by this for quite a while.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about some kind of helpful hints this morning. What is your very favorite thing to paint? The inside, the outside, the kitchen, or the bathroom or garage door?
Probably the kitchen.
Oh, why?
I mean, I like doing all kinds of paints, exterior, residential, whatever. But doing the kitchen, like especially doing like kitchen cabinets, it just makes it look like a new space, you know.
Okay, so let's talk about painting kitchen cabinets.
All right.
A lot of folks call and they want their cabinets refurbished, redone.
Uh-huh.
So do you go in and paint them in the house, or do you remove the doors and the drawers and take them to a shop?
Exactly, yeah. You take all of the doors and the drawers off. We mark them, take all the hinges, everything like that. And if the customer doesn't want you to take them to the shop, then we have spray tents, you know, we can set up outside. And then you just paint them in there.
So can you just paint a kitchen cabinet with anything, or do you have to use...
No, it's actually a lot of work.
Okay,
but
so how does it work?
So basically what you do is the first thing you take off all the cabinets, the doors, the drawers, obviously not the main cabinet, but you take off all the drawers and the doors. You mark them, because if you don't mark them and you put them in another spot, sometimes the hinges, they won't match up with the doors. So after that, then depending on if you're going paint or stain, if it's stained before, you want to use an extreme bonding primer. So the extreme bonding primer makes the actual surface hard. So like if you get any nicks or scuffs on it, it won't like scratch like regular paint, you know? And so the extreme bonding primer, and then you put 2 coats of what they have a lot of different paint for the cabinets. They have ones that are part A, part B, acrylic paint. They have urethane paint. Anything like that works for the cabinets.
Okay, so how do you paint then the boxes that you can't remove from the walls?
Yeah, so this is the whole process, you know? What we do is we set up a whole ventilation area in your house, everything with plastic and paper and everything, and we spray it. We don't roll it. We want that spray finish.
Okay.
So your house kind of looks like a
disaster zone.
Exactly.
But
Plastic
Dan,
everywhere.
I think where you're headed is on the cabinet door itself, for example, you've already taken the door off of it. Mm-hmm. So you're having to tape the inside of that opening.
Right.
Because you're going to be spraying around not only the face, but also the jam.
So there's a lot of taping and a lot of
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
work.
it's not like a 1 or 2 day job. Sometimes, depending on how much cabinets, it could be like a whole week you're doing the cabinets for. It's like the same as painting like the whole inside or an outside. It takes a lot of work, you know.
Yeah. The prep work on that before they actually start painting is huge.
Yeah, because especially if it's stained before, like wood finish, you want to really sand all the varnish off, and sometimes you sit there for 2 days sanding the cabinets.
It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do a lot of cabinet refinishing?
Yeah, we've done a lot of cabinet refinishing, and I always tell my customers it's way cheaper to refinish the cabinets like painting and then replacing them, you know, because you can have a little bit of cabinets and those things, they charge you a lot, you know.
That's up.
Mike, have you ever refinished cabinets in any of your homes?
None of because obviously on the new homes, they're
new
brand
build.
new cabinets, but on the remodels that we've done through the years, haven't had that come up yet, but I have one particular customer, so to speak, who's looking forward to having that done.
Okay.
Yeah, way cheaper too to get them painted or refinished and replacing them all.
That customer happens to be my wife.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So are you going to do this yourself, or you will hire out?
I'm toying with that idea because it is, as he said, it's a very labor intensive. So I might do something like the laundry room and see how it goes. Mm-hmm. And then if I've bitten off more than I can chew, then I'll bring somebody in.
So are you going to stain them or paint them?
No, I'd be painting them.
What color are they now?
They're natural wood cabinets.
Okay, and what does she want to do? What does
wants to
Miss
paint
Patty
them like a off-white, kind of a light beige.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Dante, what do most of your customers do? Stain or paint?
Yeah, mostly paint.
Okay.
But, yeah, we've done a couple that are just refinishing the cabinets, taking off the varnish and just restaining them. That's way easier than doing the paint.
I'm sure it would be.
Yeah, because with the paint, like I said, you got to prime it. You got to sand it after you prime it. Still apply 2 coats of whatever paint you're using. It's a lot of work.
And then again, I may not do the laundry.
Yeah. How much work is it, Dante? A lot of work, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to kill you like if you're doing
it's not going to kill you.
It's not going to like you're doing like going on ladders or nothing like that.
Okay.
It's just a lot of tedious work. That's what it is.
So if you could give our wingman, Mr. Mike Enders, one reason to hire out, what would it be?
If you want it to be professional and time saving, that's the main thing, because you could. I mean, I'm sure you're a builder guy, you know how to do it, but when you get someone
the experience.
When you got someone that does that kind of stuff every day, it just goes on really the time, It's like you rather wait a couple months to do it, like how some homeowners, they're like, yeah, I'll do a project, and I even see myself doing that sometimes at my house, Say I'm gonna do something and it like takes way longer than you think,
And that's true. I mean, that's his vocation,
right?
And that's why I always advocate, hire just like the general contractors. If you want a job done, it's easier, in my opinion,
than do it yourself.
Than to do it yourself is to hire a professional to come in and orchestrate all that. Well, it's the same way with each of those disciplines,
especially in the kitchen, because if you're out there working and it's like you can't. There'll be stuff in the kitchen it's just like if you hire a professional, they're there for a couple days to do the kitchen, they're out of there,
Okay, do you understand and comprehend?
Oh, I completely understand.
Hire out.
Yeah, I recommend
your kitchen to be a disaster for months.
It's not like painting a wall or nothing like that.
Putting little paint caulk on a piece of frog tape. Yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's interesting that you do that, because more and more people are kind of refreshing and getting a new look in their kitchen.
Yeah, for
sure.
Painting
cabinets has become quite popular.
Yeah.
Quite popular.
No, it is really popular now. People don't like the brown wood finish no more. They think it's like a tacky old thing.
And it is. It's dated.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't know I have oak, but I wouldn't know what even color. I mean, blue and yellow walls, beige walls, red countertops, and cabinets. I don't have no idea what I would paint my cabinets.
I painted lately.
Black.
We painted a lot of like dark blue. Okay. Or like blue cabinets, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, a lot of people like in Sedones, but they like those weird colors, painting their houses black and having the inside blue cabinets like that.
There's a couple in the ranch that I did some work for, and she decided to have somebody come in and paint her cabinets, and they painted them blue. It looked wonderful.
What color of blue?
It was a darker, almost a steel blue. Just really looked fabulous.
Oh my gosh! Here's photos of a cabinet paint job. Oh my gosh! We have to take a break, and I'm gonna look at these. Whoa, this is beautiful.
Yeah, see, all those guys in Sedona, they like the weird colors.
Whoa. Okay, take us to break, and I'm gonna oogle at these photos.
Okay, while we're oogling.
Oh my god! Oh my gosh!
You're listening to Hammer Time. We're having a great conversation about painting with Dante, and we will take a quick break. Don't turn that dial, because we'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey everybody, good morning and welcome back to Hammer Time. We have had the best conversation talking with Dante of Olivas Pro Painting on painting cabinets.
Absolutely.
And these photos of this blue kitchen are beautiful.
One of the things that we were just talking about during break, and Dante brought up, because Sandy had asked about what happens or how can you have a sample painted so you know what it looks like. And Donnie brought up the fact that they do have samples now that you can peel and stick. So it kind of gives you an idea. You could put your drawer in, for example, and put that on the face of the drawer, panel to see what that looks like.
So what do you ask for if you go to the paint store?
Stickable.
Colors?
Yeah. Or I think right there at the color sample plate, you know how it has that big
Right.
like kiosk? I'm pretty sure they have them right there.
Oh, I'm going to go do that. Stickable samples.
Yeah.
And even if you wanted to actually have something painted, you could paint a drawer face.
Right.
Because it's not going to have usually as much attention to detail as your cabinet doors do. But you could do a drawer face, and that way you'd be able to see what that looks like.
Or even if you have like your refrigerator, like, and it's a part of like the cabinets type of thing, you could pull the refrigerator out, and sometimes they have like little panels on the inside no one can see.
Right.
You know?
Good point. Ooh, you guys have created a monster.
I think your phone's going to be ringing.
I'm
for
going
That's
Sandy.
a new thing, you know?
I'm going to the paint store and ask for stickable samples. I'll have a multitude of samples all over my cabinets. How funny. That would be kind of cool. You could paint the bathroom one color. You could paint the kitchen, the laundry room. Oh, I could be like Sedona.
And that's like the third one we paint that type of color too.
Seriously.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. Okay, so why do you like painting?
The result afterwards, that's what I like. Seeing the progress of it. Like, especially doing like whole transformations on the house, I really like that.
The feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah, you know, like even like if you're switching the color of a house and then you look at how it used to look and it's like, dang, we did that. It looks really nice, you know?
It's given it a whole new look.
Exactly.
Do you help your clients pick colors, or do you just go with what they tell you to paint?
No, that's like a big part of my job, helping the customer actually pick a color because, yeah, like they have hundreds and hundreds of colors, and especially if you're not in a HOA, you know, some of these people paint their houses pink or whatever, you know? So it's like, what I just tell people, you find 5 colors that you like, you know, and then we could just do samples of those colors and see which one looks better. Because like anybody can just sit there for hours looking at the little chart and be like, oh, I like this color, but no one knows until you actually put it on the house or whatever.
No, you're
painting.
right. It's kind of like picking out shoes and lipstick.
Anything, you know?
Yeah.
But that's where those little samples that Dante was talking about that you can get at Dunn Edwards or Sherwin-Williams, the little samples that are less than half a quart.
Yeah.
And those are great for exterior paints if you want to look and see what that looks like.
Exactly.
Those are terrific to be able to use.
Okay, so that's...
much more cost-effective than to go out and buy a gallon of paint.
Correct, and then not be able to remove it and have to redo all your cabinets. Okay. I tried to paint I did pretty good. I painted my what do they call that little thing in your kitchen where you put all your food? Pantry.
Okay.
I painted my pantry, took out all the food, painted all the walls, all the shelves. You don't have to paint the underneath side of the lower shelves because you can't see them.
Dante, she's cutting corners.
However, you do have to paint the underside of the very top
You
shelf.
don't have to paint the top.
You don't have to paint the top.
I knew where she was going with that one.
I figured all that out myself. But it's hard to paint doors
Oh, yeah.
because you try to follow the door grain, but you can't. I don't like painting doors, and I have some little brush strokes around my doors.
Yeah, easiest way is to use a sprayer, you know?
I don't have a sprayer.
Well, they have little handheld ones that are perfect for little jobs like that. Home Depot, $60.
I have little weenie rollers that were good.
It just really, I mean, anything works, obviously, to paint. You paint in, the paint goes on there, but to have that certain type of finish is spray, you know? But I'm saying, like, you could go to Home Depot. They have the little handheld one. It's just like a little gun, and that's all you do. Fill the little cord up, and then that's it.
And then it's all my little scratch marks and my covers are done.
For sure.
Do you have to get a sprayer for every color, or can you wash it out and reuse?
Yeah, same sprayer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no one would ever make money if that was the case. Because the new sprayers that you spray, like, whole exteriors with, they're insanely expensive. Like, a brand new one is like $12,000.
Oh, my gosh.
For a gas-powered one that's, like, decent enough where you don't have to keep stopping every time you spray, yeah. I have a used one, like 5 years old. I paid $6,000 for it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Used one.
Little $60 sprayer. I helped my little garage door. Okay.
So on those little, are they airless sprayers?
Airless sprayers.
Okay.
And actually, they have these new ones. It's called the Quick Shot, and they have a backpack spray at the paint store.
Huh.
So this one, you can have a little backpack. It's got like a 2-foot hose and a nice gun. And the other one is called a Quick Shot. It's actually made for like shooting cabinets and doors. It's got no overspray finish.
Is that what I want? I don't want a backpack.
No, this one is just, it's cool. You know, you can connect it to the side like on your belt,
great.
you know?
Okay. Yes, a monster has been created. Look out, world. Okay, because I didn't want to take off all the door handles.
Oh, yeah.
You know, gosh.
But it's faster than taping them off, though.
No, you're right. You're right.
It's like if you have like 10 doors and all of them have handles, way easier just to take them off than try to
No,
put tape
you're
or
absolutely
something.
right. You're absolutely right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so how often have you painted the inside of your house?
Never.
Is it due for a paint?
Probably. I rent my house, so there's no painting there.
Okay. Well, you could always make your landlord happy.
No, yeah.
Mike, how often have you painted the inside of your
I
house?
knew that one was coming. Haven't for quite a while.
Ooh.
Well, because it's got a design to it. It's made to look like like blocks.
Okay, well, we're not.
Yeah.
Dante
Go ahead
and I
talk, and I'll come up with
we're
a
not
design
following
concept.
you. A barn,
No,
a brickyard.
like in Italy. What am
Oh, faux.
Yeah, faux finishes.
Faux
Well, that's what you said
finishes.
last time. Your whole house is like the
Faux finishes.
Exactly.
You have a faux finish throughout your whole house?
Yes.
You have columns and everything? You have
Nice.
pictures and bottles of wine and grapes? And
Grapes, no bottles of wine. So I've had to put the bottles of wine up on the top shelves.
Okay. So is it a faux finish throughout your whole house?
Yes.
Even in your bedroom, you
Even in
have
the bedroom.
columns?
Yeah, the
and
design is different in the bedroom and the bathroom than from the kitchen.
Nice.
Is it all Italian?
Yes, and that's what I was trying to.
Okay.
What's the Italian concept that was both in design and in painting that was quite popular for a number of years?
Mediterranean?
No,
good
I'll
call.
come up. Tuscan.
Okay.
Tuscan.
So you do have grapes.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay.
I like that style of house, too.
Yep. So
So you can't just go in and paint.
not unless I want to redo the whole. Well, I could do it room by room.
Yes.
But it would require, like in the living room.
Okay, so-
I'd have to do living room, kitchen, dining room because it's all open.
What is in your bedroom? What, grape fields or what?
It looks more.
Tuscany with the baskets and the wagons and the mules?
More Roman than Tuscan.
Oh, okay.
Statues everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the
little dresses
Parthenon.
Yeah, Ben-Hur's over in the corner.
We have to take a break with that. After
People
we
are
have,
getting to know way more than they need to know.
we have failed our design criteria here. I had no idea. Okay, take us to break one more time because you're still in the box.
You're listening to Hammertime. We're having a great conversation. May not make a lot of sense, but we're trying to get that information over the airwaves. So please stay tuned for some more information. Again, we're broadcasting on KQNA 1130 AM and 99.9 FM.
Do you have chariots in your bedroom with
No.
horses and
I just imagine you have like the statue with the arm like in the leg.
I've been keeping an eye out to see if I can pick up a used chariot. Fill up that cup of coffee and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
That was a very funny segment. Thank you for allowing Dante and myself to pick on you. Tuscan chariots and all of those fighters and the swords. How do you sleep at night?
With one eye open.
Okay, so Dante, do you work all over Yavapai County?
Yeah, mostly here in Prescott, but if the job's worth it, we'll go to Sedona, Camp Verde, whatever.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And how do you make your phone ring? How does your phone ring?
Advertising wise.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah, we're
thank
on
you.
Nextdoor, Instagram, Facebook, Google My Business, everything like that.
Okay.
Actually, there's some new ones, like if you go to Home Depot, there's like the Home Depot Pro Referral Program. That one's really cool.
Are you part of that?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yep.
Good. Are you busy? Do you paint every day and you have a new project every day?
Not every day, mostly like every week, maybe every 2 weeks, depending on the job. But yeah, every week we have a new job.
Okay, perfect.
Uh-huh.
And you have 3 employees.
Yep.
And how long have these men been with you?
Couple months.
Okay.
I mean, my dad's been there for a long time already, but yeah, these other guys, on and off with these guys, you know.
Okay, perfect. You know, good for you. You've
Thank
got
you.
a little workforce going on,
For
and you're
sure.
taking care of community and homeowners that want a new look. That's amazing. And I will say that you're a member of YCCA, and we couldn't be more thrilled, Dante, to have you as part of us. You've been a stellar member,
Cool,
and
thank
you're
you.
always there for me. I so appreciate
No, I
your
appreciate you, Sandy, always getting me jobs. I really appreciate
you know,
that.
you're a good man, and you've done some good stuff for our community.
Thank you.
So what is your phone number?
My phone number is 928-458-1196. Our email is olivaspainting21@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Nextdoor, all those services like that.
So how do you know when you go out and meet somebody, and I think this is important to talk about, and Mike will get it. How do you know that you want to do business with them? The world is changing, Dante.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you know there's a relationship there?
Yeah, that's a big thing I've been going through lately, but some of it is intuition and some of it is like how these people talk to you, you know? So if they're willing to give you the check, half the deposit, whatever, like right away, then that's someone I want to do business with. But some of these homeowners, they think that they don't need to give you any money to start a job or something. Then I think I'm like, well, I'm not going to use my money to paint your house, so I don't want to do business with you, you know?
And that makes sense. I mean, do you ask for what percentage of deposit up front?
50% deposit, and everything's on contract, you know? So I signed this contract, I send them everything. I mean, they have the license number, we're license bonded and insured. So it's like, when we have everything together and the homeowner's not being like that, then it's like sometimes I'm just like, yeah, whatever, man. You know?
And so then you turn the job down.
Yeah, and honestly, like, not all money is good money, you know? And I rather be a little slow than just take someone's money and then be a scam artist type of people, you know?
Good point.
That's a very good point. And 50% deposit is the norm nowadays.
Yeah, and it obviously depends
Yes.
on
Yes.
on the situation.
Yes.
As builders, we don't require, most of us require our customers to put down some form of a deposit. But for the trades, in Dante's case, for example, that's going to take care of the majority of his materials, and it's only fair when you're painting, in his case, that customer's house, that you use that deposit for the materials.
Yes.
Yeah, and obviously, like, if the job is like $50,000, I'm not going to say, like, oh, I need 25 up front, you know? But if it's a little job, you know, like $5,000-6,000, of course we need that because that's how much the paint costs, you know? And that stuff people don't realize has been going really, really up these past couple of years.
No, it has. That's a very good point. So how many weenie rollers do you have in your arsenal?
Yo, I just throw them away, to be honest. Sometimes you keep them like 2 to 3 jobs, and then after a while you can see they start to lose their little
fuzziness.
Exactly. So then it's like
Deteriorate.
no more.
Yeah. No, Sandy just discovered the world of weenie rollers.
We talked about it last time.
I love
She got her
them.
weenie roller.
Yes. I don't know if in my heart of hearts I could throw that little thing away after using it. So.
Well, even if it starts deteriorating, you could still use it on the bottom, underneath that bottom shelf, or on top of that top shelf.
So, did you know that trick?
Oh, leave it on painting. Yeah, I have to deal with it a lot. Some people they think exactly like you, Sandy. You gotta tell them.
That is so funny. I just was so tickled with myself. I thought, I don't need to do this. I don't need to paint the top shelf. That's too cute.
See, and that's the difference between hiring a professional and someone that's just doing it. We don't cut corners. Everything that we do is professional like that. We have to get on our hands and knees and our backs and roll over, backflip. Then that's what we got to do.
Okay.
So 30 years from now, when somebody has purchased Sandy's existing house, they're going to be in the pantry one day and they're going to say, I'm on this ladder. It was the owner that painted this.
It was not a professional painter.
For sure.
Let me check the bottom shelf. That is so funny. So what paint... I know you use various paint brands. What do we call it, Mike? Like eggshell or gloss? What paint product do you like to use the best?
Well, product-wise, let me interrupt you for a second. Yeah, that's sheens, but product-wise, you could look at whether oil-based isn't in vogue anymore, but acrylic versus elastomeric versus...
Which paint do you like the best?
Just depending on the project that you have, but for a regular exterior project, there's 5 different type of varieties that you can get. There's super paint, latitude, duration, and emerald. So emerald is the top one from Sherwin-Williams that you can get, and they guarantee that paint for a long time.
I tell every homeowner that calls when they're looking at paint bids or talking to painters, if they're painting the exterior of their house, they should bring in the top drawer paint from that manufacturer.
For sure.
Period.
Agreed.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And all my jobs, I always give the customer an option to decide of what quality paint that they want to pick, and usually all of them pick the top emerald, because Sherwin-Williams or whatever. If Don Edwards has the same, I think it's called Evershield. Right. And so they all have lifetime warranty if anything falls with the paint, So if it starts to peel and it's not the contractor's fault, it's the Sherwin-Williams fault or Don Edwards fault, they'll actually replace it, They'll give you the money to buy more paint or whatever. Sometimes they even give you money for the workers,
the repair.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just gets a little bit expensive, but
it's worth it in the long run. It's so worth it.
Because painting an exterior isn't cheap by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you've got the ability to put down another 10%, let's say, to get to the very top of the line paint and have that last for, let's say, 10 years.
No, and it is guaranteed 10 years.
You're better off.
Versus saying, well, I'm going to cheapen up on the quality. 2 years from now, you might be looking at redoing the whole thing again.
And the color actually pops out more with the emerald paint. Yep. Not just saying some people buy it, but it's it actually makes a difference between the middle quality paint and then the top quality of how the house actually turns out at the end. It really makes a difference.
And that goes with fading as time goes on.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the emerald paint or the Evershield from Don Edwards or Sherwin-Williams, they all have low VOC odor. They have high UV ray protection, all that type of stuff that the other paint doesn't.
So, Mike, do you use top drawer paint on your homes you build? Okay.
We do. Yep.
And then we have to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about leftover paint.
We can do that.
Okay, perfect. We're going to take off in our chariots and and travel through our grapevines, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammertime, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
What a show. What a show. I wish you could hear us off break. That's all I can say. Shaking our heads. Okay, leftover paint. When you paint a customer's home, Dante, do you leave cans of leftover paint?
Of course.
And they're labeled?
Labeled, and labeled to what it is, where it is. So if it's a fascia paint or trim, we label it trim or fascia.
And how long does that paint last sealed if a homeowner doesn't open it and get into it?
Probably like a year, 2 years maybe. Okay. But when it starts to stink, because after a while, sometimes even a year, it's bad. But
you can smell paint. Paint has a smell.
No, when
it does.
When it gets old, you'll smell. It's like a stinky cheese smell, like rotten smell. So then that means it's bad.
So you have to lift the lid off to smell that. Oh.
Have you ever stored paint upside down?
No.
Because I've seen some people do that.
Makes a difference, huh?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know.
You know what? It probably does make a difference because even when they mix the paint, a lot of the stuff sits on the bottom. So maybe if you rotate it every couple months, maybe you save it for longer.
I store my cottage cheese upside down.
I'm afraid to even ask why.
We only have a few minutes. Until next weekend, I'm Sandy.
I'm Mike.
I'm Dante.
And we say goodbye. Dante from Olivas Pro Painting. Thank you for being with Mike and me this morning.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye.
See you later.
Hammertime. Thank you for tuning in to Hammer Time. Waking Up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Heard each and every Saturday morning at 7, with an encore presentation Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 1130 by 99.9 FM in Prescott, 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, and online at kqna.com. A library of past Hammer Time shows can be listened to on the Yavapai County Contractors website at ycca.org. Break it down!